because everyone has wonderful things I'm sure that they want to participate in as we end this year. So welcome everyone, welcome. I think that I've had so many meetings around the Humanities Task Force, Humanities Committee, that I'm not quite sure if we had this contingency, if this contingency has met together as the formal mayorally appointed members. So Donna's shaking her head no.
This is our first, Madam Chair.
Wow. Okay. So I feel, forgive me, because we've worked so long and hard with Stephen and David and Barbara, and so we can just go around the room and introduce ourselves and give a brief statement of intention. And when I suggest that, I am simply hoping for you to give a statement of intention related to your role on this committee and how in the vision that you have for the direction the committee is to go. Although many of you are not really familiar about all of the happenings of the Bloomfield Community Task Force, which evolved to the Bloomfield Humanities Committee, but I'm quite sure you came to the committee with an intention on how you wanted to donate your valuable time to this cause. So I will start with, first and foremost, introducing a very vital component of this committee as well as others, Lynn, and she can explain her role with this committee as well as other townwide committees. Lynn?
Hi, welcome everyone. It's so nice to see everyone. I'm a recording clerk, which basically means anything administratively that you need, feel free to email me. I clerk for a couple other committees in town, so you might see me around, but just very glad to be here.
Wonderful. And I am Meredith, and I am the chair of the committee. And my intention with the Bloomfield Humanities Committee is really for us to come together in with a diverse lens and with a common vision to move Bloomfield forward in a vision of unity. I'm going to popcorn it over to Donna, and if we can move in that fashion, we'll just do the popcorn. So I'll popcorn it to Donna, who is the vice chair.
Okay, I'm Donna. I'm the vice chair, and I came to this group with some free time and an interest in doing something good with this town, which I've moved to 8 years ago and really have come to love. So that's me and why I'm here. And does popcorn mean I pick the next person?
Yes.
Okay, David, I can see you smiling there.
Hi, I'm David Runas. I am also a member of the Wintonberry Historical Society. Soon I'll be undergoing some training by Witness Stones of West Hartford, learning more about how to research the history of slavery in our community. And I'm hoping to act as a liaison between this group and the Historical Society. Damon, do you want to be next?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Damon Coachman, town resident. Also, I work for Berkeley Bloomfield High School. I'm director of instrumental music there. So I guess my intention is I just want to see Bloomfield kind of be the best community that it can be. And I believe by doing that is by us as a community involving everyone in the town, all groups, for us to come together as a community. So just represent everyone. And I do believe that us being a catalyst for all diverse voices, I make sure everyone can be heard and just move forward to be the best town we can be. That's all. Thank you so much. Stephen.
Thank you, Damon. Hi, everyone. I'm Stephen. My intent on the committee and role is to help get people together in various groups who live in this town and make connections among those groups for outreach purposes. My specialty is workforce development. However, I'm recently retired from the Connecticut Department of Labor, but I'm very interested in helping out with outreach. And I have to apologize. We're entertaining some out-of-state relatives this week. So I have about 20 minutes. So if you'd excuse me by 6:20, I certainly would appreciate that. But I just wanted to meet everyone for the first time this evening. Thanks so much. And I don't have anyone to popcorn it to, I don't think. So back to you, Meredith.
Okay, well, we'll popcorn it to one more person. That would be Barbara Williams.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see Barbara on. My
That's fine.
apologies, but my apologies, Barbara.
No problem. Good evening, everybody. I'm Barbara Ann Williams, and I'm very much looking forward to participating with this group and learning more about the history of Bloomfield. I've lived in Bloomfield for nearly 50 years. I'm retired from the town of Bloomfield, where I was Human Resources Director. And I just feel that this is a very interesting and important project, and I'm happy to be part of it. I'm very interested in learning about the oral history portion of it. It's something I've been interested in once I discovered Ancestry.com. So this is something I'm really looking forward to, the training, etc.
Very good. Thank you so much. So I am, we do recognize Robert's Rules of Order in a very loose format. We're really very informal here. But I want to, as you acknowledge the agenda, I'd like to be able to move a few things around because Stephen has been so instrumental as it relates to the subcommittee for the Mosaic project that I'd like him to be present when we do that presentation. So if you don't mind, Donna, can we jump right into that, and then we'll go back to the approval of the minutes and other things. So
Sure. Thank you, Meredith. So I looked through my notes, and we really actually have accomplished a lot since the last time this committee, the overall committee, met on November 29th. We added Barbara Williams to our group since then. We joined a Wittenberry Historical Society meeting where they were meeting with Fiona Vernal, and we learned more about what the society was interested in doing with her. We created a presentation together and shared it with the Wittenberry Historical Society to talk through how we might collaborate together by identifying the kinds of tasks we expected to be occurring and then which organization would take the lead for them. Essentially, they'll be managing the pieces related to the startup. They've orchestrated the oral history training with Dr. Vernal, which is going to happen on January 12th from 10 to 1. They're going to manage the storage ultimately of those oral histories and work with Dr. Vernal to make sure they get archived and that they are available to the public. We are leading the overall project plan, and our focus is more around community engagement with some stakeholders beyond the Wittenberry Historical Society members, which may include donors. We will take the lead on exhibit design and production and event planning and any fundraising that occurs beyond an initial quick grant that the Wittenberry Historical Society may request. Now, we learned last week, I think, that Fiona did receive the grant from the Connecticut Humanities, losing track, society group, whatever their their official name is, I'm not sure. But so she can start the project, which is great. So we do not have to do any immediate fundraising. We've reached out to the town, and India Rogers is working on determining for us how we might manage any donations that we might solicit, how that will work. Raised some other questions and gotten some answers, pursuing some other things. We know that we have 3 people identified from our group so far who are going to be able to do the training. David, who actually you're part of both groups, so I don't know who counts you, but in any case, David, myself, and Barbara at this point. It is happening during a weekday, so that obviously limits participation from people who have day jobs. We have some recommendations about some other folks to join, and we'll take that up in a meeting that's specific to this project. We have other open items. I've mentioned already the logistics of accepting donations for the project and how that will work. Other important things are how we can best identify the people to be interviewed, who else we should add to our team. Barbara made a suggestion about that. And then also when and how do we approach other stakeholders? So there's a suggestion made that we want to get people in early so that they can help to shape the project and the program. How much do we need to know and be able to explain about ourselves before we go out and actually try to solicit additional people, additional interest? So we do have a presentation that was drafted specifically for the Historical Society, but that's a good foundation that we can work from. We just need to, as a group, as a team, really think through what else is needed before we can go out. So I expect that those items will be the items for our agenda when we next meet as a subcommittee. And I wanted to ask the question of the group of what we should do in terms of setting our time, our meeting times, whether we should try to do Tuesdays that are not taken by this meeting. Tuesdays turn out to be a good time. I would like to see us meet twice a month because at least right now, I think we have a lot of things to talk about. And I appreciate everyone's responsiveness via email. I think it would be very helpful though, if you had the opportunity to kind of think about things ahead of time and really discuss and work off of each other. So I guess my proposal, and I'd like to hear if this works, is to try to meet on Tuesday, the 3rd, and then Tuesday, the 17th. That will work for folks.
I think, can I just interrupt?
No, not interrupting. I'm done. I'm looking for input.
Okay, so I think that, first of all, I applaud the work that you've done with the committee and the interaction with the Historical Society. You have, I think we can attest that this is probably the most progressive we've been in a long time. I would caution, however, you, as I read many of the emails, I think a lot of decisions were made or are moving forward, and it's not a confirmation decision from the committee on a whole, as a whole, the Humanities Committee as a whole. And I think some of the smaller, the logistical issues or things that you've been working, so pragmatically about is very appropriate. I think that, not that I think, I know that anything that is pertaining to the monetary and anything associated with the fiduciary piece of it, this committee needs to be present to take a vote on that. I think that there are many different schools of thought related to the fiscal elements. And I think that we have some subject matter experts on the committee who know about municipality engagement and fiscal involvement. And we probably really want to have a conversation on this committee related to that. Because other things can be involved. So I think that we do need to memorialize a vote related to that, because in the worst possible scenario, money's collected, something goes awry, they go back to the minutes, and there's no even motion related to the fiscal responsibility of the organization. And I know that's being picky hewn, but picky hewn is
Nope.
is the season with
It's
fiscal
fine.
accountability with the town of Bloomfield. The other piece of it is I was very interested related to the timing and the days that they chose to do the oral history training. I thought that that was very restricted. And I thought that if you want to get a robust population of diverse participants, why wouldn't you have two alternate dates, one during the day and one during a time, whereas people could participate. Although if it's something you really want to do, I guess you can alter your schedule, but January, when people are just coming, theoretically taking holiday time, I think that that is that was also something that I don't know who came up with that time, but if there was any discussion related to that. In addition to that, I don't know if this is the place for commentary. I didn't commentary on the emails because I get inundated reading emails that turn into basically written meetings. They're very distracting to me. And I also, as if anybody has read my emails, I start writing emails and reading emails and they make no sense because my bandwidth is limited. I did read some of the information related to the some of the recommended people that were being recommended for oral histories. And I would just hope that there is a theme that occurs in Bloomfield that I've experienced. Those who are in the know get to be the people in the know. And I'm hoping that this project will expand greater than people who are already have their oral histories memorialized. For instance, I could orate Mr. Don Harris's oral history. Why? Because I was one of his students. I know the history of his father and his legacy, legacy in Bloomfield. I think it's very relevant to have people who are not such strong community political leaders, but the woman next door who no one knows, who has a strong presence. So I would just hope that we can be conscientious about that. And also, because Donna keeps me so well informed about everything, and you all have been so actively involved in the subcommittee, I'm wondering, Mr. Coachman, I know that's your father, Damon, are you familiar? Do you feel abreast of everything that's going on? Because it's been a lot of information. Donna has been working really hard.
Because of the emails, everything that has been shared, I read them all. I'm
Very
very
good.
aware. I'm just not able to participate because of timing of everything like that. So, but I am aware of everything that has been shared and all the email information. So thank you so much for sharing, Donna. I appreciate it.
Outstanding. Outstanding. So does anybody have any thoughts about this? Because I think it's very important as we start the new year. I think Donna definitely needs some direction, input, and confirmation about this fundraising. And in addition to that, I wanted to know if we have the contractual agreement that has been written related to the itemization and the fee for services for this complete task.
We don't have that yet.
Okay, so I think it's very important for, when we meet with the Historical Society, it's very important for us to get that, so that before we're even discussing raising money, we have that contractual agreement that itemizes what is actually involved in the fee. I think that I'm surprised that a vendor would begin a grant without getting a contractual agreement from a potential client.
I don't know. I think I've said this before. I don't think she operates in the same way that we traditionally think of vendors operating in. And I believe that as a historian from the University of Connecticut, she thought that Bloomfield was an interesting place to study. And so was looking initially for someone to partner with. But my sense is she was going to try to figure it out on her own one way or another. And so she's, I think, pleased that we'll be working with her. But as I've described to a couple of other people, so far, her engagement with us, limited as it is, has been different than her experience with some other towns. And so I think she's, you know, I'm speaking for her, I realize, but this is how I've made sense of the communication that I've had with her. So I do think that it makes sense to get something in writing in terms of what the fee is and what's involved in it. And I will certainly pursue that. Part of what was happening with my vigorously sending out all the information was we were, you know, working around holidays, and I wanted to be as responsive as it could be. So
I think, Donna, I think that should probably be a collaborative. I think that we should send a collaborative email from our, oh, I'm sorry, Lynn, you have your hand up. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Just one quick clarifying question. The contract being signed, is that with the Historical Society or is that with the town?
I think those are questions that we would need to flush out. In my thought process, this would be something that it would be a collaboration with the Historical Society, but ultimately it would go back to the mayor for her review and confirmation, since we are ad hoc committee to her.
Okay, thank you.
And I think that would also initiate, that would be the impetus and the contract. My thought process of the contract is the impetus of the letter that I believe, I was not at this meeting, but I believe Steve and Barbara and Donna and Dave, I don't think David was at the meeting, where they talked about we need to have a letter from the mayor executing this task. So I think, and I certainly don't want to slow down this process and or be a stumbler to this process, but I think that certain things are relevant and important for us to have on record. And I understand that you know, I have a little post-traumatic stress related to you know, engagement with stakeholders and this type of historical process. Barbara, you might remember our participation on the African American Parade Committee when we collaborated with the Underground Railroad, and when it got to be very lucrative, there became to it evolved to many questions. I know that's a throw in the lake, but I have that in the back of my head always.
Donna, you were asking about Tuesday evenings.
yes,
For me, normally I'm leading a prayer group on Tuesday evening.
Okay,
I'm willing once a month to skip that. My wife is taking my place tonight. I
okay.
would prefer, if we're going to meet on Tuesdays, could we do it earlier in the day or find a different night perhaps? That's my 2 cents. But
Okay, we might need a different night because I think earlier presents a problem for people who are working, so. I mean, let me not make assumptions, though. Yes, Meredith?
I'm fine if you guys meet earlier because I wouldn't be going to all of those meetings because that would be 3 meetings for the Bloomfield Humanities Committee, and I don't think I'm going to have the time to do those 3, but I
Well,
will.
So let me ask, does that feel like too much if we were to meet? Yes, Steve, I'm sorry, I see your hand.
I'm okay with Tuesdays, and if you have to go earlier, like at 5,
Okay,
and I know that's prime time for people getting out of work, or switch to another evening. I also wanted to address the expectation of Dr. Vernell. Does she expect us to ask her for a fee schedule as a vendor, or are we talking about other things with other vendors?
no, she's managing whatever she does in terms of interns or graphics or any of that kind of stuff, unless we decide that we want to contribute, we have ideas about whom to use or something like that. At least at this stage, it's just a question of having her lay out, what's included and how she's doing it and what she needs from us.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Yep.
Barbara, are you okay at 5 o'clock on Tuesdays? I know you have some other familial
Yes,
family
5 o'clock
obligations.
it's not a good time for me.
Not a good time. Okay. Okay. Can I ask what other day might be good for people, or I don't know if this might not be a good use of this.
No, this is fine. I think it's great to have it concluded during this meeting. I think for me, Tuesday is fine. I only have Tuesday, actually.
You only have Tuesday.
I mean, it depends on what day in the month, what week in the month. But again, I don't need to be.
Okay.
I
don't know.
do feel that you ask, is it too much?
Yes.
I do think that some of the information some of the thought process can occur during this meeting also. And so I'm thinking that if you had a subcommittee one time a month,
Once,
and then we identified this time for, a chunk of time, I think that would have your 2 meetings.
Yep. Okay. That
But
should work.
you would know.
Well, I'm being driven to some extent by the fact that things happen pretty rapidly. And I did continue rolling with it, which, I'm hearing very clearly is not an appropriate way to continue going. So, yeah, Steve?
David and Barbara expressed what times were not good for them. Can we please find out from them what times are good for them?
Yes, great idea.
5
Barbara,
o'clock is too early. 6 o'clock is the earliest that I could be available during a regular week.
Okay, and David, your timing, if it were to be a Tuesday, is all evening in terms of the group that you normally lead, or does it conclude early enough for us to start to do something after, or?
yeah, our group usually meets from 6:30 till 7, so I would be free after 7.
Okay, I think 7 or 7:15 or 7:30, if you really could be finished at 7, I think would that work? Barbara and Steve and Meredith and Damon? I can't see you, Damon, but
I'm here.
okay.
So everything depends on what's going on in the school or but I got
Yes.
things going on in my life during that time, but I'll make it one that I can. So
Okay. Okay, so let's do, if we can, an alternate. So if we do an every 2-week schedule, so we'll have this meeting of the full committee once a month, and then, the 2-week period in between that, we can have our meeting at 7 o'clock. So that would mean it would be the 10th of January and the 14th of February, or the 7th of February, I'm sorry. I'll figure it out and we'll send something out. Okay, but 7 o'clock. Thank you, Steve, for that suggestion.
I apologize. I have to exit. A good
All
night.
right. See you tomorrow.
Thank
Steve.
you. Thank you very much.
nice meeting you, Stephen. Take care.
Thank you. Good meeting you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, I think that's my update. The summary and the next committee meeting. So I'll hand it back to you, Meredith.
Yes, I think that's great. And I think that once we get oh, I do have another question. What is the collaborative meeting? Do you have a schedule for that?
What do you mean, the collaborative meeting?
So the meeting that the Historical Society and BHC come together, is that going to be that meeting that alternate, like on the 10th? Are you in?
So we haven't established that yet.
Okay. Because I think that would be important also.
Right.
If they're collaborators, they would probably be coming to the subcommittee, because they're part of the subcommittee, correct? Or you haven't
Well,
decided that yet?
I don't know if they want to be part of the subcommittee. So what I
Oh, okay.
understand is they've identified a point person. Ruth Ann is the point person. We're all going to get trained. And then it's very possible that they'll continue working their piece of it, which will be the oral history piece. And Ruth Ann and I will, and David, of course, who's another liaison between the two groups, will have like a mini conversation. So we make sure that the groups are operating in tandem without necessarily having to get both groups together. I was not anticipating that we would have to get everyone from both group together on a regular basis. I think that makes things kind of complicated, both from a scheduling standpoint and an informational standpoint. I would think that, I and others who might want to meet and talk with Ruth Ann could represent our group. And so when she and I connect, which will probably be informal, if others are interested in that, we can certainly include other people. It's pretty much a phone call when there's information that needs to be conveyed at this stage. But again, this is early days, so we have done some work to operationalize some things, but not everything yet, certainly.
I would encourage you to think about in your framework, possibly just thinking about, again, in your framework with the Winbury Historical Society, maybe thinking about having that format available, even if you don't utilize it. Listening that Ruth Ann is the point person. And I say that because we're at the preliminary stages where people are not really, don't really know that this is going on behind the scenes. But what I've heard, not with just this committee, but other committees, as it relates to organized intention. And so when people begin to hear about this movement, people may want to participate as volunteers. Maybe they don't want to sit on a monthly meeting for the Bloomfield Humanities Committee, or maybe a monthly meeting for the Wittenberry Historical Society. But when they hear such a intentional project, that people not only from the community that we're servicing, the Humanities Committee, greater community, as well as the fan club of the Wittenberry Historical Society, they may want to just participate on this project. So I would just think about that framework. Not that you have to put it in place, but I just know that in my articulation of it, I've seen people, say, oh, wow, that sounds exciting. So you may want to have one of those meetings as an open meeting for people to participate in on both sides.
So that's a good suggestion. So that actually sounds a little different from what I thought you were talking about initially. It seemed like a coordination meeting between the two groups. Now it seems like as you say, an open meeting for the public to really be talking about where we are, what our status is, what the progress is, so the people who might be interested in understanding more about it. It's like an outreach. It's an opportunity for outreach and engagement beyond the two groups. Does that make sense?
Yes. And
yeah, that's what you were intending. Okay.
And no, well, that's an and. That's an and. Okay. It's an and, really. Because I would think that, Ruth Ann is I'm just making a leap. My whole committee is on the Mosaic Committee. So I'm not so much talking about our committee, but say, for instance, if I was part of the Wittenberry Historical Society, and David is, so this is probably out of my bandwidth, but maybe I want to be nosy. I want to see what's going on. And I don't want the translation of Ruth Ann. I want to jump on there and see what's going on myself and have input myself. That might be a little different from the collective body or what have you. So yeah, I just think it would be great. Or, as I've spoken to the principal of the high school. I don't know, is he on as a guest, Lynn, today?
Sorry about that. No, he's not on yet.
Okay. When I presented this, the Bloomfield Mosaic thought process to the high school as one of our projects and intentions that we probably would want the students to be involved with, there was an enthusiasm there also because all of the faculty that I was presenting to were Bloomfield residents. And so there was like, is this? So just gleaning from that, we might have more interest in what we can imagine to jump in and kind of help.
Okay.
So.
Notes, kept taking a lot of good notes. Thank you very much for your comments.
Yeah, I think you've done some great work. I think this is going to be a great project. I don't want to discourage your momentum and your fast drive to get it done. I just want us to be very, very conscientious and cautious about the state of affairs that our town is in as it relates to structure and an acknowledgement of responsibility. And I just want to make sure that we keep above the fray related to that. And so that's our point with that. But and particularly, I think that when we see this this expenditure report, we can be very versed with going to, I am not the voice of the Bloomfield's committee, but I have a very strong opinion as it relates to fundraising for this committee. I am adamantly against it. However, I think that could we get a grant from one of the corporations? That would be an easy yay, say yay, nay. I think we can. And to me, that's a little different from citizens grants and citizens requests. And I will tell you another reason why. I think we might be able to get Cigna or Command or one of the larger organizations just to say, this is our contribution, or
Yeah.
the water companies, as
Right.
opposed to doing citizen fundraising.
Or
not-
Doncaster,
Or
or, right,
Duncat, right.
right. I think you and I are on the same page. I may be using the wrong language.
Mhm.
I say fundraising, I say donors, I say what have you.
Okay.
I don't see us running a
Okay,
dance or any of that. I
Okay.
do not see that happening.
okay,
I
okay,
see us making a presentation and a pitch and going somewhere to say,
okay.
can you make a donation to this wonderful project in your community? That's
Okay.
really what I'm thinking of.
Okay, very good. Okay, very good. That makes me feel a whole
Okay.
lot better.
Yep.
Just because I know people are struggling for fuel and then the recession, and for us to come with, but
Yeah,
different
no,
thought
no,
process. Yeah, okay,
no. Not going
Wonderful.
to citizens.
wonderful. So, any other thought process? Again, thank you, committee, for those who are on the Mosaic committee. Thank you so much. And Donna, please, I am also interested in the January 10th training. I just have to see where.
12.
Oh, sorry, January
Yep.
12th training.
Yep.
Um,
So you think you may attend? Is that what you're saying? You're interested?
I would like to. I didn't know
Okay.
if they had a remote option,
Okay, I'll find
hybrid
out.
option, things of that nature. Wonderful. So moving right along, I want to go back to housekeeping, if I may. We, in the last committee, we thought that we needed an hour and a half to meet. And I believe that we have gone on with that thought process. Now that we are a thriving committee, wanted to confirm. I don't think we have quorum. Yeah, we do. Yep, we do. Wanted to confirm that this meeting will run for an hour and a half. Our committee meeting. And the discussion was that we really needed that much time to really get everything out that we needed to get out, as well as, their little pockets where we might need some working time. So, Donna, would it be possible for you to make a motion to the floor for the timing of this meeting?
Are you suggesting we should keep the hour and a half?
Yes.
Okay, I will, because I believe that as well. So I will make the motion that we schedule an hour and a half beginning at 6 o'clock. And clearly, if we don't need the full time, we can adjourn earlier.
I'll second it.
Okay, open for discussion. Any discussion related to that? Okay, we'll call for the vote. I always go in reverse order. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Favorably passed. Also wanted to, and I think I got out of turn. Also, we set the meeting dates for Tuesday, last Tuesday of the month, prior to having the full appointed committee. But now that we do have the full appointed committee, does Tuesday work for everyone? Very good. Can we have that motion also? Sorry, that was out of order. Sorry about that.
I make a motion to accept the 4th Tuesday of the month and the dates that were identified in the message that Lynn put out for us. Thank you.
Second.
Very good. Reverse order. All those opposed? Abstentions? Passed favorably. Thank you very much. I'm going to table the reading of the November 22nd minutes. Just did everybody get an opportunity to read those? I know with holiday season and all, maybe people didn't get an opportunity, so that's why if people are prepared to vote on them, that's fine, but I can just as easily table them for next meeting. Any thoughts on that? Did everybody get an opportunity to read them? They were sent.
I just read them.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm gonna table it.
Okay.
I'm gonna read the silence. Wanted to jump to the capacity building report summary. So we went to, I met with Jesse White on Thursday. And again, with his faculty. He actually was going to come today as a panelist. And I met with him about the student participation for this committee. And he was very much enthusiastic about it. And I actually utilized, I spoke about this committee, and I also spoke about the mosaic. I actually breezed through the PowerPoint, which I would encourage that we utilize a second copy of the PowerPoint. That there were some things that weren't apropos, so I kind of skimmed past it, but I utilized that for the discussion at the high school. And he was very enthusiastic. I met with him and the vice principal. They were very enthusiastic. Their ask was that were the students going to be voting members of the committee, or were they just going to sit as volunteers? And I suggested that I would have to get back to them because I did not know the protocols as it relates to, will they be appointed from the mayor? And I thought that wouldn't that be a great honor for a student to be appointed as a mayoral appointee for a committee. So I didn't know how you all wanted to proceed with that. But he definitely said that he would be looking at some students who could commit their time. He wanted to know the time commitment. And of course, I said once a month during the time frames. And he said, that was great thought process because, that would kind of lead him in a direction. You may possibly couldn't have students who were in sports because this is a time where the games and things have occurred. So your thoughts on a full-fledged voting member? And Damon, we would of course love you to, take the lead since you're the subject matter expert of the students.
I would just say, as long as the students understand their roles and responsibilities, I don't see why they could not be a full voting member and understand their time commitment and understand the engagement that's expected of them.
Legally, can students make decisions about the expenditure of money? I was under the impression there's an age limit, but I'm not sure.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. So that is an ask that we will, this is a ask that we would take to the, I think we would take that, I would like to take that to the mayor, actually. And let
Yeah,
her,
the town attorney is probably going to have to give us an opinion.
yes. Maybe we can write a letter to the mayor and CC Mark Needleman related to that. Or, or give the ask back to Jesse. Barbara, you sat up. Do you have information related to this?
No, but I think that it should go to the mayor. It's up to the mayor or the town manager to send it off to the
Needleman?
town attorney.
Thank you so much.
The town attorney isn't free.
Very good. Thank you so much. So we will send that to the mayor. CC the town manager? Or the town manager? CC? Or both of
Well,
them?
I think that the contact that this committee has is with the mayor. Am I correct?
Accurate.
So again, I think that
Okay,
you
we'll
don't
send
want
it
to,
to the
you
mayor.
don't want to set up negative interactions.
We'll send it to the mayor and CC the town manager.
Mhm.
I will suggest to you that, we did have, when the mayor first came aboard, he met very rigorously with us. So I think we have a great,
Town
sitting-
manager, when the
sorry.
town manager first, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
when the town manager first came on, he sat very rigorously with us and was very supportive of our ventures. And actually, I had spoken to Donna that, you know, I would like to go and have some conversations with him related to his thought process and vision for this committee.
Can we invite him formally to a meeting?
He's always invited. He is invited.
But he is always invited, but should we specifically ask for a certain meeting with
I
agenda?
think that it would be appropriate to send him the schedule for the meetings.
He's
With the attachment that he's welcome to come,
So-
unless there's a specific reason for him to be at the meeting.
So again, the past leadership, the mayor and the town manager sat at the meetings in advisory roles. So they attended every meeting. With this leadership committee, leadership team, they came to the first 2 meetings, maybe 3.
I
Three,
think the
the
mayor
mayor.
came one time when you specifically asked her to come. She came in the beginning, and then I think she came when you asked her to come and speak to the group about her view of what might happen, because this was before we changed to humanities and when we still didn't know what she was planning,
Mhm,
because we were the old team, if you will.
sure. So I think that we certainly, I don't really think it'll be beneficial for us to invite him to the meeting. He is always invited as advisors. I don't think that
Okay.
we will get as much of a response as
Okay.
it would be a more intimate engagement. But we can, I can give him a call and have that conversation also. And also we can also use India because that is her role as it relates to that charge. And that asked through her. I just was thinking we should utilize a warm engagement because he did have so much vision as it relates to our preliminary drive for a D&I group in the town when he first got here. So I think it would be a great level, a great cloak of support if we reach back out to him. So we need to ask that form. We'll draft a correspondence to the mayor related to that formal ask about our jurisprudence related to having minors being voting members and subsequently possibly making fiscal decisions, I think was the commentary that David brought up. If in fact that is not if there is a barrier related to that. I'm so glad you brought that up, David, because they're also going to be a participant in another committee I'm on. But if that is a barrier, would they have full membership except no voting rights? Could that be an option?
Or maybe could they have voting rights on everything except any fiduciary matters? I mean, so far in our existence, we've never had to vote for anything regarding funds. So
Excellent.
Mhm.
David, can I ask you, not to put you on the spot, would you mind drafting up a correspondence to the mayor with that tone or that ask as a draft and sending it to the committee for us to review and edit?
You asking me to do that? Sure.
Okay, wonderful. I was like, did I put him on the spot? We also have a Google Drive that both Donna and Lynn categorize and archive all of our information in. And so once you send that back to us, that will go into the drive. All right, moving right along. One of our charges is the Black History Month program. We are very much behind schedule and thought process. One reason, again, that I invited Jess, the principal, to attend the meeting is because the last ask from this committee was to ask him what type of timeframes and what did he think the commitment of the students were. And did he think that the students had the time to be committed? He said, absolutely. He wants to be a stakeholder. Not a stakeholder, that's my word I keep using. He would love to do a collaboration. The high school would love to do a collaboration with us for something for Black History Month. What I said to him was, again, all of these moving pieces and particles as it relates to the emails makes us be able to have information very expeditiously. So I think maybe the day before I received an email from Donna that said, it absolutely is the thought process that Black History Month is our charge. So I absolutely took that to him and said, it is our charge from my understanding. And I also, we did meet about the high school students being involved, and the committee really wanted to ask you what would be the best functionality of that, because we had some stumbling blocks last year. So because, and so that's why I invited him to this meeting. He was very much interested in the mosaic. So wanted him to hear about the mosaic first and then kind of have an open brainstorming meeting about Black History Month. But what I can do is reach out to him this evening, find out when he has available time to meet and kind of have some discussions related to how we can go from here, where we can go from here. Had some discussions with Barbara related to what could we do in a quick turnaround that wouldn't involve a lot of labor intensive work, and something that would be, because we talked about in November, we talked about maybe using Black History Month as the unveiling to the mosaic. So thinking about all that, we kind of thought about a scavenger hunt around town. And the thought process would be that if maybe we'd have maybe 6 items that we would have in certain areas of the town. And we would give the clues to those items. So maybe we'd have an item somewhere in Doncaster, or, you know, maybe Winterberry Hills Golf Course. Maybe we'd have another item at the high school. Maybe we have another item at the Drummer Boy. Maybe we'd have another item at the senior services.
can you say more about what the item would be? Like, what's the,
So
Are
it
the-
would, so it would be like a clue.
yeah,
So-
so do you go to the, let's take the Drummer Boy as an example, because this sounds really intriguing, but I don't feel like I understand it yet. So
We don't either.
getting the Drummer Boy, the object, or do you go to the Drummer Boy, get a clue, and then do something else as an example?
So,
Or have you not gotten that far? Because that's that's okay
well,
too.
well, I got excited about it. And I said, Barbara, you're the logistical person, because she comes up with all this stuff she has in the past. And she said, let me give it some thought. And we didn't go back to it. So Barbara,
Okay.
did you give it some thought?
Yes, I have, and I prefer not to talk about it online.
Oh, okay. So when do you want to talk about it?
I can email you about it in a couple of days. But if somebody, I don't want to give away the game.
Well, I think it would be prudent for us, because we don't meet again till the end of January. So we have really limited time to.
I think a couple of days is good. Because this is recorded and someone may watch it. Right?
True. Okay. So can we talk about,
Well,
wow,
what I feel is the basic
that's a good
setup.
point.
The basic setup is to have clues. The question is, if you go to a specific site and you get the clue, do you move on, or do you just win something from that site? So that would have to be decided.
Lynn, can you turn off the recording for a moment?
Yes, I will try. We're also live streaming on YouTube.
Oh, boy,
Yeah, I'll try to pause it and then see if we can go back.
that's a
Well,
great, that's a great point, Barbara, because I just wanted to say one thing that we did talk about, which is all wrapped up into.
Don't say it.
So that's great. So we have a wonderful surprise, hopefully in store for the town as it relates to Black History Month. Hope we can execute it. But if not, we had great intentions. And also this would be a wonderful time during the last, and let's really build this into the day, to build the last 15 minutes to unveil the project of the Bloomfield Mosaic. Would that make sense, Donna?
Sure.
Very good. New business. As everyone has received the printouts, our attachments, and again, I applaud Lynn. She is very organized and keeps us really on track as it relates to our ask. Wanted to highlight that we do have the opportunity to have our correspondence placed on official town stationery. So if there's correspondence that you want to have sent out, please send it to Lynn and give her a 3-day at 3 to 2 day turnaround so she can execute that, and she will send it out to us for us, and or send it back to us. I will again, just to reiterate, get back to Principal Jesse to find out if he's interested in this collaboration after Barbara gives us the thought process and we kind of mull around on it. Barbara, are you expecting us to respond via email also prior to the January 3rd meeting? Are you
Yes,
open
please.
for that? Okay, very
Yes.
good. Excellent. So our new business, as I was suggesting, Lynn is doing a new members board handbook for all of the committees on committees, I believe. So Lynn, you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, your suggestions previously from the folks on this committee were really helpful. The board handbook will have things like the town org chart, so you'll see who's who. It will also have a list and a brief blurb about each board and committee. And then it will have some more detailed items in terms of what your responsibilities are as a member, if you want to step off, if you want to continue, what to do. And then there's also a Robert's Rules cheat sheet. So hopefully that will help with meetings. And then once you see it, if you see additional items you'd like included, let me know, because I do think it will be a document that's kind of ever evolving.
Wonderful. So is that just our committee? Well, did I misspeak? Is that just our committee, or are you doing it for all of the committees that you're working for?
Yeah, ideally it will be given to everyone on a board or
Ooh.
commission. Yeah, yeah.
Did that spark from us? Can we?
It was kind of a perfect meeting because India has been working on this boards and commissions project. So between this committee and her, it was perfect timing.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, glad we could be of service. Something scooted in my mind very quickly. It was really great, I thought, but it scooted right out. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Lynn, can you please, one last, please. We always talk about getting into the quarterly newsletter. I believe one year Donna actually wrote this wonderful letter and we didn't make it into the quarterly newsletter. Is it possible you can identify the timeframes for us to be in a quarterly newsletter so that we can make a timely, give a timely summary? And I would really, really, really love if we could take a group picture and be able to be in that newsletter. I'm sorry, it's the town manager report. Am I saying the right thing?
Yeah, you're saying it correctly. They're doing a quarterly newsletter and there is spots for boards and commissions. So I will
Yes.
ask about that. There is also the opportunity on the humanities webpage, if there's ever things like if you want your picture on there. And then also on the homepage. So for events like the ones coming up, whenever you want something highlighted.
Wonderful. I'm really so excited, and I'd like to have a discussion briefly about people, and just tell me, if I go, because I can just fly up in the air and you could just snatch me back down and just put me in the trash, because I'll do that. But I'm thinking, what do you all think about having a little profile? Because we're such a diverse group. And I always suggest that it's nice for people to know who is actually on these committees. What do you think about doing? And I know, I think I know what Ms. Williams is going to say, but a simple headshot and a kind of a blurb about us and individually put on the site that Lynn is talking about. Now, this is in addition to us doing a newsletter and a group picture. What do you think about that? Donna doesn't look so enthusiastic.
No, I'm thinking about it. I don't have an opinion really one way or other. I'm trying to think I'm supportive, but if we didn't do it, that'd be okay too. So I don't mean to be wishy-washy. I just don't have a strong feeling about it one way or another.
What about you, David?
Well, I've already had my picture taken with the Wintonberry Historical Society for the town calendar.
I know, that's one of the reasons I'm like, they're on there. Why didn't we never got on? No. Trees for Bloomfield's in there. These very efficient organizations that meet their deadlines, but
well, I'm okay with it. I'd be really happy if we could find some more people of color to be part of this group. I'm very mindful of the fact that I'm a white male sitting on a group talking about race. But
Very
But
good.
again,
And we have,
everybody,
and we need to, that just can't, oh, ho, ho, ho.
What did Damon, what were you saying?
I'm just saying that regardless of, your background or where you're from, your thoughts and opinions are welcome. So we're supposed to be representing Bloomfield. So
Okay, Plan B for the Black History Month program. How many people do you think has that commentary? And just throwing it out there, what would it feel like if we had an open forum?
About
With,
what now? Which commentary? So be a little more specific.
there's a commentary that, how dare I, as
Yes.
a white privileged individual, be don't say yes too many times, Donna. No,
No, I'm sorry, but you and I have had this conversation.
all the
Yeah.
time, all the time. And what would that feel like to have a very highly facilitated town-wide discussion? Let's talk about us. And a facilitated conversation related to the state of courageous conversations within the town. Someone who is an expert facilitator might be able to do that. And that might, if Barbara's idea is too labor intensive, which I hope it's not going to be, but maybe that's another thing we can do for Black History Month. However, it would require someone who's a subject matter expert on DEI and facilitation for people to be able to have this open discussion so that it would not cause harm.
Yeah, and it would require some funds because we'd have to you'd have to pay a person to do that.
Well, we might, or we have subject matter experts within our midst that might be able to do it pro bono.
so if that's the plan, we need to ask these people like now, whoever these people are that you are considering.
I know the dean of, I believe he's the dean. Let me see what he is. He's an archbishop of Sanctuary of Faith and Glory. Damon, you might know him. Dr. Bess.
Yes.
What's his name? Is he the dean of Eastern African American Studies, or is he the department chair, or who?
The last I checked, he was the department chair, but that could have changed at Central Connecticut State University.
I don't know. What do you think about that, David? How do you think that would go over? Because your commentary is not one that is isolated. It is,
right.
I mean, I undoing racism is a whole curriculum about being able to have courageous conversations related to white privilege and who should be talking about. Well, I know Donna participated in that. Well, I don't know, but you were ABC, so I'm assuming you participated. Yeah, you participated in that, didn't you?
Yeah.
David, did you participate in undoing racism?
Not that. The Bloomfield Congregational Church has been doing a book discussion on nice racism, which is about white privilege. So yeah, we've been getting training in that regard.
And maybe they would be
So to try to flesh out your thought here, you're thinking about a potential panel discussion, potentially live streamed or something like that, where people have the opportunity with a facilitator skilled in this area to talk about their perspective on on bringing people together, right, of different races, and what it feels like potentially to be white and working in that cause, and what it would feel like to be a person of color and accepting white support. Or I don't know, because you kind of were focusing on that feeling that a lot of, I know a lot of white people who are trying to make a positive impact feel about the degree to which we should be in the background versus leading any efforts. And even if we are supporting efforts, are they the right efforts, right? Because we understand that so many times people who have been more privileged center around themselves and not around other folks.
I'm a little
Here's-
bit confused. I'm a little confused. I don't know what the subject matter here is. We're on one hand talking about an activity for Black History Month that has now gone into the discussion of some kind of group discussion about racism, et cetera. And I'm not saying the two aren't related. However, what is the purpose of such an event and when would it be held? I think we kind of went off on a tangent without, I mean, are we talking about something that might be the closure for the mosaic, when we finish that, or is it something you're thinking about for Black History Month? Or
So I was thinking that if we couldn't execute what you're suggesting that we can execute, if we couldn't execute that, that's our, this scavenger hunt is plan number one. But say after Thursday, folks look at it and say, oh, that's way too much, and we couldn't execute that, could this be plan B? Not and just a
no,
plan B.
I think that what you've been discussing would have to be plan A. It's serious, it's important. It would require a lot more to pull together than a game, in my opinion. You have to find who are going to be your panelists. What would be the purpose of the discussion other than white privilege? The impact on this
Well, we're not gonna talk.
culture. No,
No.
I'm just saying, I mean, that's plan A. That's to me would take a couple of months to pull together to get all of the people that you would want involved in it to be able to be involved. I'm just saying,
Okay, let's take that off the table for that
I
month.
would like to see that as the closure for the oral histories.
No, let's take that off the table and let's talk about that.
Don't take it off. It's a great idea.
I mean, let's take it off the table for Black History Month. So
For now, yeah.
For now. And right under that, we have 4 more minutes. We have Holocaust Remembrance Day, which is January 26th. And certainly we need to do something. We identified, and we did this before this committee was created, that we were going to do 5 different we targeted 5 different groups: Holocaust, 5 different cultural events: the Holocaust, Black History Month, Pride, Juneteenth, and Hispanic Heritage. And so I don't even want to, well, we have 4 minutes, 3 minutes. But I think it would be nice if we could pull something together for January. I think it's January 26th. Don't quote me on that. But it would be nice to be able to pull something together. Our meeting is January 24th. If we could possibly have someone from the JCC possibly give a moment of reflection during our meeting in January, and or again extend this time, or is it too much? I mean, is it too much? Are we talking? Is it too much? I think it's important we do it, but I think it's important we do it. And also, we had this on the list. We had this, Donna, if you can remember, we put this list together before in the summer, in August. And
We
I
did,
think the
but
timing.
this is
is-
the first time we're speaking about this. So
Yeah.
that's what concerns me. In the last 3 minutes or 2 minutes of our meeting, and I just don't know what else. what
And
we
if
can do.
someone were to, oh, sorry, Donna, if someone were to
Yeah,
come in
go
and give reflections, would this be open to the community? Even
Yes.
though this is our meeting though, so I don't know, like, how would that work?
Well, I think that, I hope that we can, put a committee together, to do some type of informational. I don't want this year to go by and us to execute this committee without, doing something. Lynn, are Tuesdays, free days for us? Like, is there something going on January 31st?
In town, you mean?
Yes, on it, yeah.
Let me check. real
I'm
quick.
just curious.
As
I'm
a
listening.
different thought around this, Meredith,
Sure.
since it is an actual day, the 26th, it would seem to me that if we wanted to try to focus on getting a speaker, potentially we could collaborate with the library and do something on the 26th.
They're probably already doing something. The library, if we did a collaboration first of all, with the library, their schedules, we can reach out to them, but their schedules are already set. Like back in November,
Yeah.
I reached out to them for a day in February, and they only had
Okay.
2 days left.
I'm sorry, Lynn, I interrupted. So
No,
please.
no.
As of now, there's not showing anything on the calendar for the 30th.
What about the 26th?
Same thing. As of now, no.
And David, did somebody,
Steve said he had a contact, right, at JCC. Is that what you're thinking?
sure, yep.
Yep.
Is it possible that we can meet with Steve and we could pull a committee together really quick, to execute maybe a speaker doing a soft open forum? I mean, a soft lecture, a soft lecture, on that day. Barbara, your thoughts?
I think it's important that we do something, especially with the rise in anti-Semitic behavior. I don't want it to go by without addressing it in some way. I could talk to Howard.
Yes, talk to
Maybe,
Howard.
maybe he could put something on BATV too.
Well, okay. We'll talk to Howard. I'll reach out to Steve and CC everyone, of course. Lynn, can we identify that day?
In terms of
The
holding,
26th, holding it for a live stream?
sure. Mhm.
Can people come up with a nice theme for the day?
I don't think you need to. I think the purpose of the day is
Is-
the theme of the,
Oh, great. Uh,
no, we have to do
Holocaust
something.
remembrance, Holocaust
Yeah.
remembrance.
Maybe Howard might know some people who are survivors that could be perhaps interviewed or.
Absolutely. So, I'm going to, I'll reach out, Holocaust. Is that what we're going to call it? Holocaust remembrance? I don't, oh,
But that's what it is.
it
That's
is, but
that's what
it
we have
is.
down.
We do.
Holocaust Remembrance Day,
We
Yom
do.
HaShoah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, can we put, yeah, can we?
I
Yom
don't know if I'm
HaShoah?
pronouncing it correctly, but that's what we have written here, right?
Yeah,
Yom
yeah.
HaShoah.
And I don't even know if that's appropriate. I Googled it. So
Okay.
sometimes Google is not. So Lynn, do you
How
mind?
can it not be appropriate if that's what it is?
I mean, sometimes you get stuff, I just snatched it off of Google. Sometimes you get stuff off of Google that's not necessarily politically correct.
It wasn't politically correct for all the people that died. Okay, don't get me going. Okay.
So Lynn, is it possible, you said that you were gifted in the flyer department? Offline, can we put like a draft of something together for January 26th? And actually I'll reach out to Steve as well as Howard. And we can see if we can have a informational lecture series
Mhm.
to celebrate our to honor our
So here's something, looking up Holocaust Remembrance, the 2023 theme for Holocaust Remembrance and Education is home and belonging.
oh, there it is. Boom.
And
Bloomfield.
if we could get someone who can speak about belonging in Bloomfield or something like that, we could, and if it was a survivor, or it would be a way to tie it in too. You know what I'm saying? If there's a possibility, I don't know that it could, that it's
We
possible,
can,
but
we absolutely can. And I think, Barbara, I think Howard, if anybody could take him, no, he's our brother. He is like a biological brother to me, but I think he would love to share his experience, because Thanksgiving table, he used to talk about having Hanukkah and Christmas and, as an opening to the actual lecturer, because he's actually home. What is the theme again, Donna?
home and belonging.
Home and belonging. He is actually the home and belonging, and then it would open up into the lecturer. Oh, I'm so excited. Mr. Runes, anything about that? I mean, Howard always talks about the duality of, his parents, and yeah.
Sounds good.
Also, I think that if the lecturer can maybe also engage in some Q&A.
Absolutely. Wonderful. So Barbara, since he's your brother, I can take me off the table. Can you reach out to him?
Of course.
Wonderful. Oh,
I
I'm so-
always say he's my brother from another mother.
Absolutely.
So,
Love it.
I know we're past our time, but because we've brought him up, we were going to talk about inviting Howard to the oral history training. And I had wanted to have a conversation about that, but since we're not going to meet until the 10th now on the subcommittee, we probably should talk about that now or do it via email. I don't know what to do about that.
I don't know what, she probably already talked to, well, anyway.
Okay.
I didn't. As I said, I would not do that without
Okay.
direction from the
Very
committee.
good. Oh, okay.
I suggested him as someone who would be an asset
Mhm.
if he were trained
Mhm.
would be able to conduct interviews. And he himself should be interviewed because he has a long history in Bloomfield. He and his brother, Harvey, his parents were, long residents also. And I think it would be very helpful for the committee.
Mhm.
And he has a beautiful studio
Um,
in the Carmen A. Ray School building. Beautiful studio.
So I guess one of the questions I had is how to categorize him in our group. Is he someone we would invite to this committee as well? Or someone we would keep maybe separate, but someone interested in the project? And I
See-
know we're at 7:38, so I don't know how to.
So I clearly, I was on the page of, and I don't know who said it. Maybe it was Barbara, or I don't know, maybe you, Donna, about stakeholders. I certainly thought BATV would be a very
Stakeholder?
necessary stakeholder because they broadcast the history of Bloomfield. Well, that's what their role was. So before we had the live streaming and all of this stuff, BATV was that vehicle. So maybe that's something you all can put in your subcommittee thought process, as well as I know that there was some correspondence related to the church, First Congregational Church, also having a lot of historical presence. So I think that people have to discern if they want to have that model or not.
My concern at this moment is that we've agreed now that we'll have our next conversation on the 10th. If the 12th is the training, that doesn't give us enough time. So.
But is this
Do
training?
I have the committee's permission to speak to Howard, number one, to see if he's interested?
Well, so that again is a question I have about how formal we need to be. I'm fine with that.
Well, at this point, I was only interested in inviting him to the training, and we could make a decision on any other positioning once that's been decided.
So Meredith,
regardless of
Damon,
if you
David,
decide.
yeah. Mhm.
No, I was going to say, regardless of whether or not he would be part of the committee, I still think he would be a great asset in interviewing and if he had the training and being one of the interviewees.
And also, is this the trainers or this?
No, it's not. You had the idea of train the trainer. It's not, she is training us to do oral histories.
Right. That was my understanding.
Right.
So this is only a one time.
Yeah, that's the plan. And you might remember, we asked the Wittenberry Historical Society to take the lead on determining all of that and setting up the logistics, et cetera. So that's what they've done. I'm sorry, I don't see it as a train the trainer because I think having done train the trainers on different things over the years, I see them as being different. This is for us to
Absolutely.
learn.
Yep.
Absolutely. I don't think
absolutely.
this professor is training anybody to take her job.
Oh,
No,
I didn't.
right.
Because it was so quick and it was in the morning with a small population. I said, oh, this must be a train of trainers, because it just wasn't an inopportune to me. It wasn't a time that was conducive to everyone. So I just said, oh, maybe this is the train. My era.
Well,
Only
I never
because that's
thought it was.
true.
I never
Oh,
thought it was
sorry.
anything except her teaching the participants how to conduct an oral interview.
That's what it is.
I hate to say this, Chuck, but I have to run. I want to make sure that is there anything that you need us to do in terms of far as with the Holocaust Remembrance Day? Do you need any of us to do anything?
We probably, but let me, let's just get this template out there, the ask out there, and then can we communicate by email?
Okay, sure.
And then we can meet on, I think we had a projected meeting already set for
Yeah, the third.
the 3rd. And can we throw it in there?
Okay. Have a good evening, everyone.
All right, thank you.
Bye, Damon.
All right, thank you so much. And so that's a good question. Can we send forward this to people who we feel interested, that might be interested in?
Well, that's
don't
them.
Or is there a
I-
cap on how many people?
Well, there's a pretty large cap, but I don't think we want to open it up to just anyone who might be interested, because we'll sort of, I don't know, how do I say this? It's not that I want to be so exclusive necessarily, but we're doing this for a purpose, and the purpose is very clear to us, and we're interested in doing everything in the service of the Bloomfield mosaic. So I'm not sure just opening it up is that doesn't feel wise to me.
Well, if you open it up, I don't think there's anything wrong with opening it up, as long as you have people sign a waiver of some kind that they will participate in the mosaic project by either
Interviewing?
participating by interviewing, or at the very least recommending people to be interviewed. It's not just a walk-in, you get to do this free. You have to make a commitment of some kind. The first commitment, I think, would be to participate to do oral histories from other people, whomever they're directed to do after the
Yeah.
training.
So don't forget, the first set is going to be about 15 people, and Fiona does some herself as well. So I don't know. I don't know who you're thinking of, I guess, for adding and opening to.
Well, in my experience, you never know who you might get, and it could be people that you would least expect to get. And there are a lot of people who are interested in this subject. I would say they should be Bloomfield residents.
Okay, so I would like to just go back to something that I wrote about earlier in terms of the idea of opening up the request for interviewees, because I think that we may have the same caution, which is trying to manage expectations for the project.
So let me ask you this. Who
Yeah.
are the people who are being the interviewers? Who's being trained?
So it was supposed to be people from our committee and people from the Historical Society.
So
And
a group
other-
of- so a group of mature, 50 plus people,
Why does it
Yeah.
have to be 50 plus?
because that's basically what.
That's who we are.
Why can't a high school student do it?
I-
A
but
high school student could do it if we
But to
decide we want to.
that's who we are right now. To date, that's who we are.
Well, I think that number one, we need some younger people in the group to interview. Because
do the interviewing.
age has nothing to do with the ability to interview. I could see it if you were talking about people being interviewed being 50 plus. Well, I could say 50 plus, and you have to have lived in Bloomfield at least 25 years.
I'm just
Would that be
saying,
fair?
I'm just saying that this train is already moving and it's already concluded. It's the interviews are the training is January 10th. So I'm just saying.
I think you need to have leisure services put out a flyer inviting
Oh,
people to
Wow, I don't.
apply.
I don't think we have time for that now.
You know?
Again, I see what Donna's saying is that you really want to corral a small, intimate group of people.
Yeah.
But I'm just not, I'm concerned that the people who we have interviewed, I know as a someone who does clinical formulations and assessments, who's asking the questions matters on what information you're going to get. We always discern that you might get a different narrative based on who is asking the questions all the time. And so we are similar populations of people that is in the committee. But for me right now, the ball is rolling. And shame on me that I didn't know, I wasn't focused on.
Well, it kind of came quickly, didn't it? Well,
Right,
at
it
the
did,
very,
it did.
yeah, before we really got our wagons circled and all of that. But I still, even if we don't have a lot of people taking the training, I do think that we need to open up the potential for people to be interviewed. Because you
Well,
never know. As I said when I emailed you about talking to the pastor of Bethel AME Church, who may have some members there, some
So,
older people who
Yep,
would be
yep.
great.
I think that, in my view, that would be the way that we would approach this. So I would feel very uncomfortable with an announcement that goes out through some sort of media, be it Leisure Services or a Bloomfield Messenger or something like that. But to have a conversation, Steve had talked about having a conversation with somebody in JCC. You have spoken about having a conversation with an AME pastor. Those kinds of things I think are entirely appropriate. That's part of networking and saying we need to find a group of folks that we can speak to who will fit a certain profile to help us understand the beginnings of Bloomfield, why people came and what their experiences were. And then from there, it builds. What Fiona has said is that she usually starts with about 15 people. In our instance, because we have 3 populations, it's 5 from each population. So we're not talking about too many to begin with. And then the interviews get done, they get transcribed, and then she starts to look at the information. She has a meeting with us to talk about what's come out so far and what's missing and who else do we need to go and find. So that's been the process that has worked for her, that she's hoping to use in the past. I mean, hoping to use with us. It's worked in the past and she's hoping to continue it.
How many people does she think would be appropriate for people to be interviewed?
She has said to start with 15. 5 from each of the 3 groups.
I'm not talking about the trainer, the people
No, the interviewees.
15.
15
Okay.
starts.
Okay.
And then she does her initial pulling together of information. What are the themes? What's the picture that's starting to come through? And then what's missing? And then we go out for a next round and potentially a next round. So it builds. It doesn't start large. It starts small as kind of if you think about it as a pilot. It starts small and then we go out and try to fill in gaps.
Well, can we ask her to do another training round?
I can talk to her about that.
Maybe another one later on, once we see what it's about, and then we'll have an opportunity to gather, younger folks. I mean, and not just younger folks, but people on this humanities committee and people are on the historical society, they're people who are well versed in the town.
Mhm.
There's no variation related to that. Maybe you might have a school teacher. There are other populations of people that might be beneficial to be on this course. I'm thinking of one now, the grandchild of
Woods,
where?
the Woods.
Yes.
Yes.
Did I mention her to you before?
Yes, you did.
Oh.
I'm tracking with you.
So anyway, we are very late into our
Yes.
thought process, but certainly, yeah. I do think if you have a cross-pollination of participants, you'll get larger buy-in, basically.
Okay.
If we
I'll
had
go back
decided,
to-
I'm sorry,
I'll
go
go-
ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask again, do I have permission to speak to Howard Reitman about this?
I think so. I don't know why you wouldn't. Yes. I mean, if there doesn't seem to be anybody here who feels that that's not a good idea. So
I'm sorry, I'm way out of protocol. It's 7:53. I'm so sorry, Lynn. I apologize to you. I apologize. We just went on this train and I'm so sorry. May I suggest that as you've done so wonderfully before, Donna, can we take this offline, this future conversation or whatever executive decisions you all make related to the trainees? You do that, but I want to respect everyone's time.
May I just ask this about taking it offline? And it occurred to me after the first time. Do we have to go into an executive session in order to do that?
I don't think we have to go on a executive session. You can just resume
I
your
mean,
subcommittee.
I'm talking about the laws of the state concerning committees and.
You can develop a subcommittee. We already have a
Mhm.
sitting subcommittee.
Yeah, I'm
so
saying,
our
but there are-
subcommittee doesn't have minutes. Is that correct? And it's not recorded.
No.
Okay, just asking.
The subcommittee information is inclusive of our minutes, but
So it comes into the committee here.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
And we are live streaming.
yes, we are. So again, is this something that the committee could take under future detailed conversation so that we can preserve the time? It is 7:55 and I apologize again for us going a half an hour or 25 minutes overboard. Just so many exciting things to discuss. So I apologize. Thank you, David, and keeping in mind that David has already given us his time because his wife is standing in for him. So I apologize about that, David. We will be more cautious and have a timekeeper and move expeditiously and being respectful to time. So if there is no other commentaries, can someone make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, then have a very wonderful holiday.
You
We'll
need
be
a
in touch.
second.
Thank you.
David, David's seconding, I think. Okay.
Yes.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everyone.
Good night.
Good
Thank you
night.
so
Have a
much.
good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.